I'm going to say this, but it's actually not true. No one grows up saying they want to be in mortgage. But I talk so much about this business, my kids want to be in mortgage now. It's hilarious. They're 17 and 20, and they're lobbying me on going into mortgage and not going to college. So you're going to hire them shortly, just as a heads up, Danny. So listen, here we are. The reality is success in this business doesn't come from doing it the same way as everybody else does. I talked this morning about I love business models, and what I've loved being in this channel is learning about how all these different entrepreneurs run their business and carve out niches and find success. So I'm really excited to be here with three of my friends and super smart business people to talk about how they found their niche and how they do it, and hopefully you guys can learn a lot from these masters. So Tony Wright believes every broker has a superpower and growth comes from leaning into it. Danny Iskander, who built Westcap around culture as the glue that holds a firm together. And Samir Dedya, whose business model blends mortgage and real estate, creating a new kind of hybrid that positions them uniquely in the market. So, three great guys I've learned a lot from. Let's all learn from them. So, let's talk about our journey into mortgage. How'd you get started?
I got started at Option One Mortgage in 2003, subprime lender, and it was a temp job, and started to see all these loan officers and all the craziness in this business. And in 2000, I graduated from college. I got a business degree, and had thought that I was going to go to law school. And then my brother showed me a couple paychecks. He was a loan officer at Home Loan Center, and I was like, wait, you're making how much per month? Like, what, are you serious? Like, so I scrapped the additional education and going to law school and just jumped right in and started originating in 2004. So
awesome.
It's been a fun ride, a lot of great companies that I've worked with, and but definitely didn't think that I would get into the mortgage business this way, you know?
So 2004, Option One was famous for like all the Lamborghinis in the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting place.
That's great. That's great. Tony, how about you?
Oh, I was a young buck. Like you said, you don't really grow up thinking like this is what you're going to get into. So I think there's a lesson in that, right? Like, watch out, little boys and girls, for what you try. You might be addicted to it for the rest of your life. So seriously though, like my uncle introduced me to the mortgage industry. I was 21 years old. This was 2001, and I was helping veterans refinance VA loans primarily. And I mean, there's just something about helping people lower their mortgage payment and what that can do for them, and just cleaning up their budget and things like that. So I found it really rewarding. Similar to you, I thought I was going to, I went back to school and did get an MBA and thought I would help people with wealth building. But there's just something about, and we see it in the commercials that you guys have been really rolling out, helping people with the American dream. And it's stuck, and here I am. I've made it my life's work.
It's addictive. Helping people is addictive. It's a good thing. Samir, how about you, buddy?
So I got in the mortgage industry like most of us. It stumbled onto our laps. Had no intention of getting into mortgage. The year was 2004, so similar to these guys as well. Just worked at a local mortgage brokerage company in 2004, worked my way up. Sure many of us who started that time would remember there was barely any technology. I think we were using Calyx Point, a lot of manila folders and hole punching, and that's how we shipped our loans off to these lenders.
Yeah.
Times have changed, but as we continue to evolve and grow, we grew from being licensed in one state, then moving into about 20 states, and had a few other ventures along the way. And then most recently, about almost 3 years ago, we sold our mortgage company to a real estate brokerage company called Real Broker. Many of you may have heard of them now. So we are an integrated solution in the Real platform on the mortgage side.
So let's stick with you and then talk about your business model and kind of the day-to-day, you know, what you're shooting for.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, I'm always a relationship-minded person. That's what I always enjoyed. I like building relationships like many of us do with our referral partners. And so this was an interesting opportunity for us to build something bigger along with a much larger partner of ours. And we decided to, instead of going through a lead buy model, and there's nothing wrong with any of the models that are up here, but we decided to target real estate agents. And it's not always easy, but for us, we look at that almost like a TPO relationship. similar to what we do here, what you all do here at Rocket. So we've evolved a lot of different innovative programs with real estate agents, getting them licensed, building out a rev share model for loan officers, doing a lot of different innovative things that we saw Real doing on the real estate side, decided to piggyback off what they were doing and implement that into our mortgage business as we continue to evolve and grow.
Gotcha. So you think a lot about attachment and conversion.
It's all about attachment.
Yeah. Yep. Gotcha. Tony, why don't you tell us about your business?
Yeah, similar, but a little nuance in it. What I like is there's so much similarities, but also differences amongst all the different businesses. And we too, we really look to partner with real estate influencers, not so much just an individual agent. So the uniqueness about our business model is that we have started close to 40 different mortgage brokerages that are all partners with Rocket Pro. And I'm an owner in all of those, but the common theme is that we're finding usually team rainmakers that close at least a couple hundred units or so a year, and not any of our independent brokerages on their own are crushing it as far as units and volume, but together it's going to that local feel. So we really believe in the consumer experience. We really actually put the real estate transaction first, and we've learned that people want a house. They need a mortgage. So we're here to service a need, and obviously, similar to what you have going on, we understand that the real estate agent is really the quarterback of that transaction, so we really lean into that partnership.
Yeah, great. Danny?
Well, my background, I was in consumer direct really for 17 years prior to getting into the wholesale space. And, I saw a lot of flaws in that business model, primarily that you didn't have a lot of flexibility or control. If you wanted 20 leads a day, they're only willing to give you 10, right? Or if you wanted to have a flexible schedule or I just saw a lot of shortcomings and micromanagement and a lot of, just kind of flaws in that business model. And so really Westcap is kind of a culmination of a consumer direct and a broker. So we have a lot of different verticals. We focus on social media. We focus on purchase and relationships like these do as well. But I would say our primary business model is, we're spending anywhere between $3.5 to $4 million a month on aggregate leads. And we subsidize the cost for the loan officer. Westcap pays for roughly 50% of the lead cost. And then we have a engagement strategy that mimics very similar to, I would say, a consumer direct environment where via text, email, and multiple drip campaigns over 30, 60, and 90 days, we'll engage with the client. And then really we're trying to build up our book of business and our closed loan base so that we have those opportunities in the future and the referrals. So that's really, I would say our strategy is a lot of consumer direct is like the pedigree of the model. Yeah. But then now, the LOs that have been doing it are now experienced. Now they have this client base, they know how to do different marketing and direct mail and social media and leads, and so they're very diverse now, and I think that's how we've kind of gotten to these crazy numbers.
Yeah. It was impressive. I mean, the first time I walked into your office, I was pretty blown away, because I'd been in a lot of different partner shops, and the giant screen with the lead by, color-coded, with the scoreboard of who's paying how much and how much they're making on that lead. I just hadn't seen anything like that. And this is, 14 months ago now. And what, have you doubled the company since then?
Yeah, it's been
it's been amazing. So it's been really fun to watch you guys grow. And again, just a perfect example, these three models are completely different. And yet you're all, Rocket Pro brokers, right? You think everybody comes to work and puts on a uniform and does the same thing every day, but it's so different, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about broker superpowers a little bit. Tony, you said when we talked, you had a superpower in mind for brokers and for your team in particular. What is that?
Yeah, I honestly think that it's partnership. And partnership is something that, is a vague term. We consider Rocket a partner. I obviously have equity partners in these different brokerages that I start. But partnership includes the loan officers that work for us and everyone that's kind of involved. So even when I come to an event like this, I look at it through the lens of more partnership allows the things that I'm really great at, Dan, to maybe help someone out there. And then same thing, there's gaps. Like nobody's going to be an expert at everything. So I think if you, I don't want to be the reason that something fails, but I'm a guy that takes a shot. I'm a guy that says, man, it's great to meet you. You're great at refi, I'm great at purchase. What can we do together? And there has to be synergies there. There has to be trust that's built when you're going into specifically like an equity partnership. But I think like the superpower that I've had is taking a chance with real estate partners across the country. And I can tell you this, it's uncomfortable for them sometimes. I have multiple partners that I'm their only partner they've ever had. They started a real estate company, they grew it was their way. And sometimes they've been burnt in the past, maybe with a personal relationship. So I'm an advocate of partnerships, and I think it's my superpower, and I'm grateful for every single one of them that I've had. Even the ones that haven't gone great, I've learned from, as we all have heard that common theme.
Yeah, I was going to say, some of them don't work out, right? And then you've learned over time how to kind of predict that up front and refine your
Absolutely.
partnership choices.
We move forward from that. We take the feedback. And the truth is, one of the biggest compliments is when things don't work out, but there's still an amicable relationship there. Yeah. And you could ask partners that are no longer in business with me, and they'd have a very similar thing to say about me as when we were in business or first met. And I think that that's just being true to yourself, doing the right thing, having your values in line. And that's what we really do look for before we do like an equity partnership, that we're aligned on values, because those are things that are non-negotiables.
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to be like the four of us on stage and put 20, 30 years into an industry, you're going to run across the same people, right?
100%.
Same people that you meet on the way up, you're going to meet on the way back down, right? So, Samir, given your business model, what do you think of this Compass deal?
Real. So it's the real, not Compass.
No. The big transaction that happened. Yeah.
I think everyone.
I'm throwing you a little bit of a curve.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. That wasn't in the
I
notes.
figured the audience would like to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, there's always going to be consolidation in our markets. I think that's always a given. I believe there's always a race to the top of who can get to the consumer faster and quicker. Given Rocket's dealings, right, with Mr. Cooper and everything, Redfin and everything like that. So I think, I believe it's yet to be determined on how it's going to play out. I think it will give them a significant advantage, I think. But I do believe, given all of that, just through my journey and my experience, it does come down to what you said earlier, partnerships, relationships. All of those things matter. And as long as humans are still buying homes, they're going to want to deal with humans, right? So regardless of what, I believe that technology drives efficiency. It doesn't replace relationships. Yeah. Although sometimes with AI, you feel like you are speaking to a live person. But I do believe that the Compass deal that they did was a significant deal in the industry, in the real estate space. I think it was TBD, if you will. But I think they're gonna have obviously a significant advantage.
Yeah, got it. Okay, Danny, when we talked about superpowers and the building of these businesses, you leaned into culture. And as a guy who spent some time at Rocket, you know how important culture is at Rocket, right? Pretty paramount. So what did you kind of take from Rocket and then craft your own culture? And I don't mean from a stealing, I mean of your experience, right?
Oh no, I've stolen a lot. I guess my mindset has always been like, I just try to think about like when I was an LO and I started at a company, like what were my first interactions with the staff, Did I get to meet the processors? Did I meet the owner? Did my manager take me out to lunch and have a one-on-one with me? Was there recognition when I had a certain milestone or something that I achieved, right? So I guess for me in particular, I've tried to think about all these great companies that I've worked at, right? A lot of large consumer direct companies like Rocket, Loan Depot, Mr. Cooper, Lending Tree, and I just try to take little nuggets from every single company, and then what are the things that I hated? What were the things that I liked? Yeah. And then just try to bring all the good things. We do like closing coins. Rocket did closing coins. I was like, man, every month I get this cool coin. Loan Depot would do every, quarterly events. We did an end of the year trip. We would always do kind of recognition. So I do think that stuff is important, and it's something that I hate saying it because I don't even want to look at the budget of what we spend, but I don't think you guys look at the budget, you know, like when you put on an event like this, it's like a world-class event, you know, and it makes an impact. And so I do, you know, if it kind of relates to this, like what is our superpower? I would say building a great culture, a culture that's focused on what is best for the loan officer, by attracting the top loan officers in the nation. Now it's like a magnet, right?
Yeah.
Other people are like, holy shit, how's this guy making $100,000 a month, $200,000 a month, and funding 8, 10 million? Our top LO this last month did 14 million in 1 month. So they're like magnetized by, you know, this fun culture and top people all making money. Yeah. And then it's like this snowball effect, and it just keeps, we're now at 1,100 loan officers. So I don't even want to take the credit, but I think that the foundation of great, amazing loan officers, a great culture, obviously you have to have tech, you have to have super high compensation, great partnerships, but I think, you know, those kind of foundational things I think are paramount to our business.
Yeah, I think you made some great points, and you know, you talked about the companies. What I've tried to do in my career is also learn from the leaders the same way, right? Like I've run a lot of businesses, but you know, there's always like you're reporting to a board of directors, or you know, there's always typically somebody, not for you, but most normal people, we have a boss in some regard. And so as you come up, you can always learn the good parts and try to peel off the bad and get better yourself. And I think you can do the same thing with businesses, which is really cool.
Yeah. You know, listening to his model, it just reminds you of the consumer behavior, right? And in this case, you're thinking about the loan officer in mind, and they want it all, right? And if something is missing in that culture, you know, they're going to find something else. And it's an environment that's been created where a high level of the entire experience, and that includes the compensation models and the different things that you bring. So it puts pressure on an entrepreneur to bring a high level if that's what you're looking to attract.
Yeah, and I think, you know, again, we have thousands of partners, and I've spent a lot of the last year in a lot of the different places, and you know, again, many different business models, but one of the things I love about this space is it's a lot of these shops feel like families. You know what I mean? And they work very closely together. They're having a good time. There's fun things in the office, right? Like the other day, I'm out when there's a barbecue on the outside deck, you know what I mean? And they're just firing up steaks and just staying and keeping working. And like, it's just a great part of this business, I think, you know? So I enjoy it. Okay, let's go, let's take a little something from the last session, which we got to watch backstage. And you guys didn't really, like, you haven't like switched necessarily to Rocket. You guys have been strong supporters of Rocket. Tony, you did a little bit of switching in there. But let's start with Samir in terms of like, why Rocket for you?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were one of the first loans to close. I say that proud, like very proud of that. One of the first loans to close on Rocket's platform back in the day, QLMS, in 15 years ago.
Wow.
And so when I look at the partnership, it's truly a partnership. Do we agree on everything? No, but that's what a partnership's all about. We really pushed each other, and we still push each other every single day just to get better. And through our journey over the last 15 years, we've done a lot of things. Some worked out great, some maybe not so great. But with Rocket, it's really been about the support, about the flexibility, about maintaining independence, about truly just being what Fawaz said earlier, family. And that's, to me, what really resonates with us. And I say this a lot to everyone. We wouldn't be where we are, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for our partnership or relationship with Rocket. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. They've taught us a lot. They've helped us a lot, helped us grow in many different facets. And that's how I will always remember Rocket.
Love that. Thanks. Tony?
Yeah, I mean, we did have a unique opportunity, if you will, where because all of the companies are separate, some of them were not with Rocket when the ultimatum came out. And that gave me the ability to see where we wanted to go all in and push all our chips in. So after we made that decision, it became clear, I mean, not to, you know, I actually think there's great things at all companies, right, that are successful, or else they wouldn't have success. But what I really felt was that just the way I treat my real estate partners, and I am looking out with what's best for them and their agents, I feel like that's what Rocket's done. And I will say this, in where we had some ventures that weren't with Rocket, there was a little bit of overreach beyond the ownership group to the mortgage loan officer, and there was just a lot of things that didn't align with our values and our culture. So, I mean, I'll say this overall though, I just really like you and your leadership team and everybody that I've worked with from my account executives, and I've just really gelled well with it. So I think that saying you hear a lot, different strokes for different folks, like this is my home, this is my family, this is where I feel like you guys are pouring into us. And I can say in my model, which is unique, I'll sit down with high-level leadership and they'll say, Tony, how can we help you? I'm sitting in Mike Fawaz and Corey Scholl on December 31st and literally New Year's Eve, and they're like, what can we do to help you hit your goals? And when you put other people's success first, you know what happens.
Yeah, love that. Thanks for sharing that. Danny?
I've always been impressed with how well Rocket has been. You know, you guys are like industry leaders, and just how well run and professional everyone in the organization is. You know, I had a lot of, I won't be as maybe as open as Pablo is about UWM, but I had a lot of negative interactions with UWM, right? And I'm not trying to point the finger, but how their senior leadership interacted with me, some of the things that they said, how I was treated, it's like something that I can never imagine. You or anyone, Austin Nemec, Mike Fawaz, Corey, you guys are pros and you treat us like a professional, and it's steady and consistent. All the feedback that we've given you, I've been pretty vocal sometimes about some of the things that I think are shortcomings in the model and what we need, but it's just how we interact and how well you guys are run leaves me with confidence. And then as a broker, I do think that there's a significant brand value with kind of co-branding this affiliation and saying, you know, West Capital Lending, we're the #1 mortgage broker and we're partnered with Rocket. If you broker a loan and they see even Rocket on the LE, that's, you know, people that they don't know who some of these other wholesale lenders are. So I think there's just how you guys run, how you operate, what you're willing to give back and contribute to the community. I feel like, you know, you've been almost having to kind of prove yourself and like dispel this narrative that has been created over the years. And so it's like you're willing to break your back for brokers and go above and beyond. And that goes a long way, you know? So that's some of the reasons why I think, you know.
That's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that. I really appreciate that. I think what we've tried to get across today and throughout the day, and certainly a lot of the way our executives speak, is like, we are here to serve you guys. We want to hear, you guys all know, I ask you all the time, what can we be doing better? Like explicitly, and let's go and dive in. And we're just at the start, I think, of a lot of things that are about to really kick into the next gear, not only in terms of some of the technology we showed today and the, you know, broker near me, all those things, but like when you talk about the brand, and you heard Jonathan speak today, like we're kind of just at the beginning of this brand journey that hasn't even begun to really bear fruit to the extent that we think it will, right? And when you hear Varun say, you know, things like, I wanted to hire the best marketer in the world, not the best marketer in mortgage or not the best in the United States, I think that just is like the scale that we want to commit to this channel. So
I have one more. I wanted to add to something to exactly what you said. Yeah. I think also the fundamental differences with Rocket compared to whether it's UWM or any other lenders out there. I believe that Rocket always has a day one mentality. So what I mean is we're at ground zero every single effing day, no matter what. And that resonates into our world as well, where we feel the same thing, right? Like, so it's never like there's never a complacency that happens. It's typically one of those things where, all right, we've done these amazing things. How do we get better? How do we get better? And knowing or unknowingly, like for all the leadership at Rocket, that resonates with us as brokers because we want to continue that same journey. We want to keep evolving and getting better as well. Yeah. So,
well, you talk about that, the company, like your company culture permeates into like the humans in a certain way, right? And how you treat people. Like, I spent a long time at Black Knight, now part of ICE, right? And I ran a business for years that started very small and we grew it very large. And when you do that, you have like a different mentality, right? You come up with your customers together, whatever. But another part of the business had always been very large. And I won't name it specifically, but they just bullied their customers. They were just completely, would act differently, to your point, than I ever would from a professional perspective, right? Or just, yeah, tell me your concerns. And they'd walk out the door and be like, we're not doing any of that shit. You know, like just this pompous attitude. And what I love about Rocket, and I love that you guys are all feeling this, is like every day we want to do better. Like and it's been even a little difficult for me to handle, because like I'm kind of used to winning, and I'm kind of used to like a little bit of the, you can relax, like we're winning, you can relax. And here they're like, that was yesterday.
Yeah,
dude.
can't
Like,
relax.
get your ass out there.
relax.
Like you got to win again today. We got to win by twice as much. And it's like, oh, okay.
Well, it's like your leadership team tells me all the time. There was one of your isms was earn the partnership.
Yeah.
And that's not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Earn it again today. To your point, day one mentality. Earn it again today. Earn it again today. And I think the last thing I also wanted to add on like the partnership that I have is I like to be adjoined to a winner. You know, I don't have any negative feelings about this Mr. Cooper acquisition or Redfin. I don't know what that means for me, but I'd rather be attached to the one that's swinging, like Varun said from the very start. He's taken calculated swings.
Yeah.
I want to be aligned with that. I want to
Yeah.
be aligned with people that are also going for it. And I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Yes before no.
Yes before no. I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time and for sharing this stuff. It's been great. We'll get into a little of the Redfin and the Cooper questions on the last session, because obviously some people wanted to talk about that stuff, and happy to do it. So let's give a round of applause for these guys.